हरिः ओम् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् Atmosphere Bandhugana. You are all welcome to this class on Praatassmarana Stotram. The first verse is already completed. Now you are joining the second verse. Does not matter. It is like a bunch of grapes. Each grape has its own taste, and even if you miss the first one, you can enjoy the second one, not a problem. But you need to have an open mind. And we are not having a Purana session, a storytelling session, nor are we going to do some chanting session. It is also not that. I do not conduct such things. Because chanting you can do yourself if you have interest in it. No storytelling. Story you can read yourself. Why should anybody tell story to you? Unless there is some significance in the story and it is explained, that is a different matter. Just the storytelling has no value. Also, people are accustomed to some routine stuff which is repeated again and again over the years and now over generations, and therefore there is a lot of conditioning around, especially in the context of religion and philosophy. Therefore, in that kind of a context, presenting some philosophy, what is called Vedanta, in its undiluted form or pure form, without mixing it up with some religious beliefs and all that, presenting it in its pure form, like science is presented that way, like the subject of calculus is presented that way. When it is presented, people find it very hard to relate to that. I'm not telling about the nice people who have assembled here. This problem is always there in the teaching of Vedanta. You have to listen to these classes, to such classes, which are rare. You don't find them often. I'm not telling about myself, I'm telling about Vedanta, okay? Please don't misunderstand it that way. You need to listen without what is called resistance. People listen with a wall of resistance. And one more thing, I would like to ask you, you want me to speak things which validate your thinking or your belief? Is that what you want to hear from the speaker? Suppose the speaker says things which fit into your thinking, what all you have got from the society and from the people, etc. And the speaker says things which fit into your thinking. It is not knowledge, but if you want to call it knowledge, to fit into your knowledge. Is that what you want? Or you are willing to examine what the speaker says with an open mind. Think about it. And you have to verify for yourself. And mostly, the foremost thing is you have to think. This is not like Tirtham and Prasada. For Prasada and Tirtha, there is nothing for you to do except receive it, put Prasada into the mouth and Tirtha into the head. Other than that, there is nothing for you to do. It is all cooked or prepared and offered. And so people are accustomed to some such thing in the name of religion. Therefore, this is philosophy. This is not religion. Philosophy is altogether different. Unfortunately, the line between religion, the popular religion, or the religion of the masses, and the philosophy, the vision of philosophy, the borderline between the two is erased, and there is a lot of diffusion. The religion diffuses into philosophy. So, it could happen the other way also. The philosophy diffuses into religion. That also happens. So, that kind of a mix-up is there. Anyway, I am trying to make a case that you listen to it with an open mind. So, you may say the verse number 2 with me, following me. Praatassmarana manaso vachasa magamyam.
Praatassmarana manaso vachasa magamyam.
Vacho vibhanti nikhilaya danugrahena.
Vacho vibhanti nikhilaya danugrahena.
Yam neti neti vachanair nigama avochan.
Yam neti neti vachanair nigama avochan.
Tam deva deva majamachyutamahuragriyam.
Tam deva deva majamachyutamahuragriyam.
Ajamachyutamahuragriyam.
Ajamachyutamahuragriyam.
Prataha bhajami. I do bhakti. Yesterday there was a discussion on bhakti. So the first thing that I do when I get up in the morning, the first thing that I do is bhakti. Pratat bhajami. I am devoted, I get devoted. Or I feel the devotion early in the morning. You see, one has to look at oneself. It is not some moral lecture or any such thing. We have to look at ourselves. When we get up, where is our devotion? The first thing, where is our devotion? I suggest a cup of coffee. These are South Indians, or need not be South Indians, there could be any Indians. North Indians are more devoted to tea, and South Indians to coffee. So the first thing that I get devoted when I wake up is a cup of coffee. One has to look at oneself, For example, I wake up and look at the time. Oh, it is 5:15. Yeah, Starbucks time. That is the devotion. That is called bhakti. Means, what is bhakti? You have a feeling of love with your entire being. Did you get that expression? With your entire being, you love that. That is bhakti. So, we have it. Nobody does not know bhakti. Everybody knows what bhakti is. Means, you love something with your entire being. That is bhakti. And so, everybody has it. But bhakti to what? And that too, bhakti to what early in the morning. You see, back in India, I take bread for breakfast, toast 2 pieces, and with a banana I eat it. So that day bread was over. So I looked through the window. The shop on the other side of the road is open. 7 o'clock he opened. The kirana shop, what they call. I thought, wonderful, I can go and get the bread. So I rushed to the shop. There are bread packets there, nicely arranged. And he is there, the merchant. I wanted to pick up a bread and give the money to him. The bread costs 18 rupees or 20 rupees. So give 20 rupee note and pay. He said, don't touch it. I was taken aback. Why, what happened? Till now puja is not over. You come after 5 minutes. In India, we don't believe in courtesy and all that. Thank God he did not slap me. Please get up, come after 5 minutes. I am not yet open. No, you are open. Hey, get out. Because he has to do puja. Puja to what is called Galla Pitte, the money box. So now there is Kubera Yantram. Very religious, you know. Kubera Yantra, that attracts all the money in the world. And then the money box, where he will put money and give goods to the people. And then he has to do puja. And it takes 5 minutes minimum. Till then he won't undertake any transaction. That is his devotion. He has bhakti. He feels the sense of love with all his being towards money and anything and everything that is connected with money. That is the devotion. Then I am sure you can understand this. There are people who get up and say, Karagre pasate Lakshmi he karamadhye Saraswati karamule tu Govinda prabhate karadarshanam. So here is Lakshmi and here is Saraswati and here is Govinda. He wants all. He doesn't want to leave anything. Secure everything, you know. You secure wealth, you secure knowledge, because knowledge brings wealth, you know. And then you secure the God, Govinda, whatever it means. And therefore Karag. So this way, a kind of a bhakti which is made popular by the gurus of the world. They forget that there is no Lakshmi at the Karagre. It only means not that Lakshmi is sitting here, where you take fingerprints, that is where Lakshmi is. Come on. Silly. That is not what it means. It only means by working hard you can earn money. That the spirit is lost. That is what religion is, where you take things literally, altogether forgetting the spirit. And so people are devoted to multiple gods and goddesses. So already 3 gods in the talk. Already multiplicity, multiple gods and goddesses, they are devoted. And that is how the religion functions in our lives. And so some kind of, you call it devotion, really there is no devotion. It is you tell me, is it a belief or is it a devotion? How do you look at it? What is your feeling about it? It is belief. In fact, the person, the merchant, it is not belief for him. It is devotion. With his entire being, he feels the love for money. That is not belief for him, it is devotion. Whereas this Lakshmi, Saraswati, Govinda, this is all belief. What is devotion in it? So like that, people, they don't know what is bhakti. They assume that belief is bhakti. Belief is not bhakti. Bhakti is what you feel deeply within, with your entire being, that sense of love. That is very experiential. It is you, the entire person, the core of the person. That is devotion, bhakti. Whereas belief is very superficial. It is in the brain cells. Belief is in the brain cells. Brain cells, but God gave us brain cells to think. But we become lazy and don't want to think, and therefore we conveniently take up a belief. You need not think, you know. In belief you need not think. That is the advantage. It is like you need not clean the floor. The maid will do it. You can sit in the sofa and watch the TV. The maid will clean the floor. Similarly, you need not think. All thinking will be done or was done by other people. What they call parampara, tradition, whatever, all the thinking is already done. and fossilized. The thinking is fossilized, and now it is only for you to believe it. And that belief is considered bhakti. Wrong. Belief is not bhakti. You see, I ask here, Praatassmarana, manaso vachasa magamyam, without making much ado about it, I directly come to the point, namely, can you be devoted, means loving, can you be loving towards, with all your being, with your core of the being, can you be devoted? Can you entertain that love towards that which is unknown and unknowable? Can you do that? There is a general impression among people. You say, I am talking some philosophy. I hope you got the sense of it by now, okay? I'm not pandering some belief system or some story or some such thing. I am examining some philosophical vision. People, there is a general impression that if you have a particular form, like Rama or Krishna or Shiva or whatever, a form, a physical form, you can easily get devoted to that form. Is it true? This is the general impression. And the tradition seems to support that. The religious teachers, they promote that. So this is the form. You take this form, you adopt it and be devoted to it. You can do it. Suppose we talk of formless, you will not be able to be devoted. That is the impression they give to encourage the form, to validate the form. Why form? Because you can easily be devoted to the form. How can you be devoted to the formless? Did you hear that kind of argument? There cannot be a more fallacious argument than that. It's a fallacy. Because look at the religions of the world. Look at Islam. Look at how Muslims, how much devoted they are to their version of God. Everybody is devoted to their version of God, but look at Muslims. They are totally devoted to their version of God, fanatically devoted to their version of God. And their God has no form. Look at Christians. They are religious too. Not only you are religious. Don't say that only Hindus are religious. That is not correct, you know. Christians are religious too. And there is no form to God in Christianity. Judaism, they are very religious people. And there is no form to God in Judaism. And then come to India, Arya Samaj, they are very religious people. Swami Dayananda Saraswati, the founder of Arya Samaj, very, very spiritual person, a great Mahatma. And his version of God has no form. And Brahma Samaj, Ishvara Chandra Vidyasagar. So there is no form of God in that. Then come to Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, there is so much of exposition on devotion, bhakti, but it doesn't offer a particular form. It doesn't offer a God, a particular God. Bhagavad Gita doesn't offer that way. Please come. This is for you. Take this book and take it. Take it. Therefore, Upanishads, you take Upanishads, they do not offer a particular God to be worshipped. They do not offer. If it sounds odd to you, I cannot help it. If you look at the major Upanishads, please come, take seat. If you look at the major Upanishads and Gita, if if you carefully examine it, did anybody point it out to you that Upanishads and Gita do not offer a particular God to be worshipped? Did anybody point it out to you? Or did it fall my lot to point it out to you? So, therefore, this impression, this general impression, it is more of a belief than anything else, that you need a form to be devoted. Without form, how can we have devotion? This impression is not valid. In fact, here Shankara is talking about devotion to that which is not known and which is not knowable. You see, it can be known but not known yet. That is one thing. But it is not known and it is not knowable. It is unknown and unknowable. That is the reality. And I am devoted to that. Did you get the spirit of that statement? Manaso vachasa magamyam. That which cannot be described by words and conceived by thought. The thought cannot conceive it. Words cannot reach it. To that, be devoted in the morning. I am devoted to that in the morning. That. This is Upanishads, it is. Upanishads present the reality as that. The word that is very powerful, means it is, I am very sure about it, it is. It is not something dubious or doubtful, it is. Yet it cannot be described in words, nor it can be conceived by the brain cells. By the mind means the brain cells. I am devoted to that early in the morning. How? How can you be devoted to such a chimerical thing that cannot be described in words, nor can it be conceived by the thought? How are you going to be devoted to that? We will do like this. We will do a small meditation and see whether such a love, devotion is love, such a love is possible. How do you think, This is philosophy. This is not some storytelling. I am not tired of reminding you. This is philosophy. It is easy to say, early morning I am devoted to the Lord of four hands, wearing a crown on his head, juxtaposed by two women, two devaries. It is very easy to say like that. There are countless verses like that. And you must all be, you are in Pittsburgh, people. So you must be knowing all those things. If I try to bring some such devotion to you, it is like carrying coal to Newcastle. So, okay, I need not do that. You are all experts in that, being the residents of Pittsburgh. Therefore, that is not the devotion which we are talking about. That is not devotion. That is belief. It is. There is a fine line between devotion and belief. What you consider devotion, if you examine yourself carefully, you yourself can see that it is not so much devotion as it is a belief. But here, what we are saying is not belief. It is the inner feeling which you feel within you, which is experiential, if I may say so. And therefore, when you feel it within you, you don't need a proof for that. A mother who loves her child, she needs a proof that she loves the child. Do you ask her, you prove that you love your child, do you ask her that? And if you ask her what proof she can give, she will ask you to get out. The proof, no proofs are available. and no proofs are needed. What you feel, what you experience, no proofs are needed. You don't need a proof for a cup of coffee from Starbucks. You don't need a proof. It proves itself. So, this devotion to that, Praatassmarana, to that, manaso vachasa madamya. We try to bring it to the field of our experience so that we need not believe it. And that becomes the true devotion. What is the belief? It is not the real devotion. It is some kind of a conditioning, nothing more. I will tell you, when you say, I know, suppose somebody asks you, what is the way to that place? Then immediately you know the way and you will explain it. First you know the way and then you explain it. Your mind is formulating because it knows the way. The thought process is kicked in. And now you explain. You go straight and then at the stop sign take right, like that. So whenever you feel that I know, the brain cells will be working overtime. The thought process is being formulated and then speech follows. Speech follows the thought. First the thought, then the speech. Suppose when the person asks, do you know the way? You give a thought to it for 1 second and say, sorry, I do not know. And then what happens to your brain cells? They become silent. Your mind becomes silent. And the speech is not there. Speech in terms of explaining the way is not there. You will say, I am sorry, I am not talking of that speech. Therefore, whenever you say, I do not know, how is your mind? It is silent. Mind becomes silent. And whenever you say, I know, mind is active, if not overactive. You see, in a group of 20 people, some grammar discussion was going on. Sanskrit, Vyakaranam, some discussion was going on. And they were discussing with a lot of enthusiasm. And I was sitting at a small distance. And I knew what they are discussing. So it is like a pressure cooker. I could not contain myself. Then I raised my hand. They don't look at me. I am just trying to draw their attention, but they are so engaged in their discussion, they don't look at me. Finally, I could not contain myself anymore. I said, hello, look at me. Then they looked at you, what is the matter? I know what you are discussing. Is it? Yeah. Okay, then you come here. Then I went and told. They were happy. It's okay. But then I looked at myself. What is this movement? This is a very funny movement. They did not ask me, why should I volunteer like that? Because the mind has formulated the knowledge, the so-called knowledge. It is grammar of a particular language. And the mind has all the information and stored in the brain cells. And now the mind is anxious to speak out. You got the point? So you understand now what I am talking. There are other people who do not know anything. How would their minds be? Just think about it. Either they will be thinking something outside furiously, I am not talking of that, but assuming that they are not thinking of anything else and they don't know what is being talked about, their mind will be silent. The silent mind is a very big thing. You should know that. People don't know the silent mind. They know only the noisy mind. The silent mind, unfortunately, they don't know it, they don't experience it, because their mind is feverishly active all through the day. They don't know how the silent mind feels. They don't have a value for it. In fact, they don't even know that such a thing exists. So somebody asked me, can there be a silent mind? I said, yeah. How? Now you asked me a question, can there be a silent mind? With all enthusiasm you asked me the question, and I am about to reply, and you are waiting to hear my reply. During that waiting period, how is your mind? It is silent, yeah. That is the silent mind. You have to discover it in yourself. Therefore, I have many things before you. One is a value for the silent mind. And then another point that I was trying to make, when you say, I know, your mind is active. It is busy formulating what it knows, followed by speech. But if the mind reaches a point where it does not know, means you sincerely feel, I don't know. You sincerely feel. Then your mind is very silent. When you feel, I don't know, your mind is very silent. Oh my God, that is something. Now the point is, when the mind is silent, what is it? What is it? You have to understand a few things there. When the mind is silent, you, the person, is absent. You, the person, who believes himself to be the father of children, husband of a wife, etc., who believes him to be a Hindu, a Christian, etc., who believes himself to be a career person, etc., who believes himself to be an unfortunate person, lucky person, etc., who believes himself to be a Brahmana, Kshatriya, etc., that person is absent when the mind is silent. Then what is present? You find out. What is present? You find out. It is you, the real you. This person, which is manufactured by the mind, by the thought process, is not the real. It is a myth. It is a phantom. It's not real. That is not the real you. My God, this silent mind is a very big thing. Did you get that point? So don't you want to explore that? Or you are busy with your gods, with your world, with your rituals, with your pursuit of wealth and pleasures? You are busy with all that? With your rituals and with your petty gods and with your desires and fears, and you don't want to change from that? You want to explore that which is characterized by the silent mind. You have to think about it. So let us sit upright. Close the eyes lightly. Don't press the eyelids. Close the eyes lightly and sit upright. When you sit upright, you may notice that you are alert, very alert. It is same as you are very attentive, what we call attention. And I suggest you notice that when you are attentive, when there is a total attention, which is the case now, there are no thoughts. That's a discovery. Having thoughts, it means is inattention, the lack of attention. And when there is attention, there are no thoughts. That is the beauty of sitting upright. Very simple. I become attentive and the mind becomes silent. Now I examine. When I say, I know, that puts the mind into a spin. That is our experience. So the statement, I know, always puts the mind into a lot of activity. Of course, followed by speech. But I say with humility, in a humble way, with a humility. These are very important. I say, I don't know. But let us say God. Let us say God. Suppose you say, I know God. Your mind goes into a spin about all the details of the conceptual God. But now I am saying, I don't know God. What is known is not God. I don't know God. I don't know. When I don't know, that space of consciousness, which is entirely free from thought, I don't know. You remind yourself, I don't know. Do you feel any love to that which I do not know? To that which you do not know? Try to feel it. Tell yourself, I don't know. That reality, that which is beyond space and time, that spaceless and timeless reality, which people call God, I don't know. Really speaking, I don't know. In spite of my rituals and my prayers, I really don't know that reality which people call God. I don't know. It is the unknown. Not only the unknown, it is the unknowable. And that unknown, which is now and here, that space of consciousness, which is characterized by the unknown, the space of consciousness characterized by I don't know. Do you feel a sense of wonder and amazement? I don't know. That space of consciousness characterized by the feeling of I don't know. Do you feel love for it? Yeah, you feel love for it. You learn to love that which is the unknown and the unknowable. Though it is the unknown and unknowable, It is not far. It is here, in me. It is now. It is supremely accessible. Only I have to feel sincerely. I don't know. It is there. That space of consciousness, unknown and unknowable, that Chaitanya is, very much is, supremely accessible. And I love it. I am devoted to that. Oh. Relax and slowly open the eyes. That is the verse. Praatassmarana manaso vachasam agamya. I am devoted to that. That's why I told you this is Upanishadic philosophy. Upanishads do not offer a particular god. They do not offer. All the gods and goddesses that are worshipped by us came from some Puranas, and more often than not, the gods and goddesses that we worship are shaped by our desires and fears, what are called anthropomorphic gods and goddesses. Should I give examples for that? Already I have explained a lot already. There is a god who drives away snakes. Where from this god came? It came from our fear of snakes. Is it not so? There is a god or goddess, whatever, who gives gold and money. Where from this god or goddess came? Came from our desire for money and gold. So, those gods and goddesses are not part and parcel of Upanishadic vision. And it is so easy to be devoted to that unknown and unknowable. Do you agree with me? It doesn't require any effort. You need not prepare some golden necklace and offer. You need not. God doesn't need your gold. Go and sit on the tree. God doesn't need your gold. Silly. People are crazy. They don't know what is God. They assume God is a big uncle sitting there who is looking for some gold from you. So people are conditioned and habituated for some kind of a belief system which is paraded as devotion. It is not devotion. The ritual is not devotion. The ritual is action, not devotion. There is devotion. You cultivate it. Please cultivate it. That love for the unknown and the unknowable. I ask you, did you ever go onto the terrace and look up into the depths of the night sky? What you experience is the unknown and the unknowable. Did you ever do it? Or you are always busy with your cell phone and all that? Try to do that. Go on to the terrace and look into the space. Don't look around. If you look around, all forms and other things will be visible. Don't look for that. These forms are not real. Forms are shaped by human hand or human mind, or both. Look into this space. And because you experience the unknown and the unknowable as you look into the outer space, do you feel you cannot love it? No, you can love it. Learn to love the unknown and the unknown. Learn. Please do it. Wake up. When you wake up, the conditioning takes a little while to kick in. Before all the conditioning of being a person, etc., kicks in. You are in a state of silent mind and you are in communion with the unknown and unknowable. And you learn to love that. You can. Because you are intrinsically the very love itself. You are the love itself. Every one of us is in the core love. That is Ananda, Satchid Ananda. Ananda is love. Take it like that. Love is not the translation of Ananda. I am not giving translations of words. You can get the translation from a dictionary, okay? Ananda is bliss, but the bliss expresses in the form of love. Therefore, go on to the terrace and look at the sky, deep space, or at least contemplate upon the deep space. Contemplate upon it. Suppose a rocket which just I am helping you the contemplation. A rocket which travels with a speed of 35,000 miles per hour. Can you imagine that speed? Your car goes 80 miles per hour when you violate the rule. 35,000 miles per hour, the rocket is rushing into the space. And it takes 5 years to reach Jupiter. What kind of space it is? Can you imagine it? You cannot. In spite of the figures given by me, you cannot imagine it. You cannot visualize it. Even I gave you the figures. I am supposed to be very knowledgeable because I brought all those figures. But even I, with all my knowledge, cannot visualize it, cannot know what it is. Are you on the same page as myself? That is the unknown and the unknowable. That is the real, which you cannot conceive. Manasaha agamyam. Be devoted to that. You keep your beliefs, it is up to you, I am not interfering with that. I am only trying to say, don't confuse belief with love. Okay. Belief is different from love. A mother does not believe in her son, she loves her son or daughter. It is not about belief, it is just love. It is the father who tries to believe, okay? Not the mother. Therefore, don't confuse the belief with love. Learn to love that unknown. Sit alone. Don't be all the time talking with people and all that. You isolate, you go into solitude. I do not mean isolate. Go into solitude and remain alone and allow the mind to become quiet. And did you ever do that? And cultivate love for that, because that is the truth of yourself. And it is such a nice thing that the truth of myself is the truth of God, and it is also the truth of this world. That is the bhakti. Pratar bhajami manasaha agamyam vachasam agamyam. I will explain to you now. Vachasam agamyam. Once again I appeal, you have to have an open mind. Now you got a feel of it, right? Do I have enough reason to ask you to have open mind? Do I have enough reason or not? Or am I blabbering? I have enough reason to have an open mind. So I appeal one more time. I will be challenging you on a few fronts. Be prepared for that. You see, I take a small part of our religion and challenge you. I have to do that only, I cannot challenge you based on Christian God, right? Based on the gods and goddesses that we worship, I challenge you, right? You see, in the childhood, we were worshipping Shiva because we are horizontal people, not vertical ones. Ours is horizontal. You must have noticed some horizontal line. So, and then I was worshipping Shiva and Kailasa and Triyambakam Yajamahe mantra, etc. And then Ashtottara Shatanama Puja. Shiva is married to a woman called Parvati. There is a lot of symbolism in it. Parvati is the daughter of Parvata. Just as a matter of the context, I am saying Parvati is not some woman sitting there. It is not like one of these young people get married to a daughter of a rich man. It is not like that. Parvata is that which doesn't move, sthanu. It is the changeless, immovable, immobile. And the daughter of the immobile, there must be some symbolism associated with it. It cannot be a lady of a rich man. Anyway, so Shiva, married to Parvati, having 2 children, just like we all seem to have. This is what is called anthropomorphism. And so we used to worship. And how do we worship? Put horizontal lines. By that, why should we put horizontal lines? Shiva will be pleased. So we used to put a lot of horizontal lines. Whether Shiva is pleased or not, parents are pleased. And the gurus are pleased too. Then, after a few years of these religious practices, it occurred to me, what is the essence of the religion that I am practicing? What is the essence? What is it? When I deeply examine it, I discovered that the religion that I am practicing with so much fervor is merely verbal and nothing more. I will give you an example, okay? I will do a bhajan. Will you join me? That becomes a big chorus. Let me do myself. You don't join, okay? I will do a bhajan. Kheer khayenge, kheer khayenge. किशमिश डाला है, काजू डाला है, घी डाला है, बहुत अच्छा है, खीर खाएंगे, खीर खाएंगे. So like that, okay? Now, what I have done now and what you have understood, is it merely verbal or something more than that? You tell me. Very obvious. It is merely verbal, nothing more to it. Suppose I do that for 2 hours and some more lines will follow. Just I made only one set of lines and I can add some more lines. बहुत प्यारी से बनाया है, माँ ने बनाया है, सब अदर लोग खाए हैं और वो भी एंजॉय किए हैं, हम भी एंजॉय करेंगे, खीर खाएंगे, खीर खाएंगे. So one more poem I have made, a third, a fourth, and we repeat the same thing, and the violin and the tabla also will join. This is how the tamasha goes on. The guru cannot sing anything because he doesn't know any music, and his voice is so croaky voice like that of a frog, croak voice. Nobody can listen to that voice. Therefore, have some tabla, harmony, and violin, and put into that. This is what goes on in India. Back in India, you are all privy to that. So, kheer khayenge, kheer khayenge. 20 minutes we do bhajan. At the end of it, do you get the strength of eating kheer? Or you get tired of saying kheer, 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 kheer? Hemandi, correct? Now I ask you a question. Please think and tell me. The religion that you are following, is it any different than that? It is entirely verbal, put in place by descriptions and words and descriptions, which do not seem to have any connection to the reality. They are not your words, somebody else's words. That much I give you. So even that originality is not there. My kheer khayenge has some originality in it. You don't have even that much originality. So the point I am trying to make is, I am not trying to cut a joke with you. I am not trying to ridicule any particular method of worship or any such thing. That is not my interest, my intention. I am trying to convey a deep truth of philosophy. And the point is, I made a background, prepared the background, and now I am telling, the word is not the thing. That is the law. The word is not the thing. Suppose we all sit here and I say, Vrikshaha, the tree, we say. It doesn't mean anything. It is not anything. It is just to tell in Hindi, जुबान का जमा खर्च. इतना ही बात है. Did you get it? जुबान का, जुबान is a Urdu word, जमा खर्च. You have a mouth, you have the organ of speech, and you have some thoughts, the thinking mind, and the mind, the thought formulates, and the organ of speech speaks. And Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gave an example. The parrot says Rama, Rama, Rama. That parrot, what does does it have any connection with Rama, what it means? Whatever Rama means Dharma, Rama means Brahman, Rama means Ishvara. The parrot has any connection with that? No. That's why the expression parroting has come. So I am giving you that example, you try it yourself, to convince yourself, you try it. You need not follow my word, you do it yourself. Tree, 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 you say it here. You go out and stand before a tall tree and look at it and see what happens. With full attention, look at it and see what happens. You know what happens? The word drops and the thing is there. The word is never the thing. You followed that? It is so unfortunate that we recite prayers without any connect to the thing. We are caught in the verbiage, in the verbal world. That is where we are caught. One word interconnected with another word, one expression interconnected with another expression, mutually supporting each other. Like that, many expressions, many words. A web is created, very fulfilling web it is, interconnected, supporting itself. That is all what you have. That's all you have. That is all you have, sir. You don't have anything more than that. And you consider it as the truth. What is the truth in it? The truth cannot be put in words. And as long as you have words, you are far below the truth. And when you experience the truth, there are no words. These are the things which people have to understand. People are not accustomed to understand. They would rather believe and be done with it. Easy. Believing is easy. Thinking is difficult. Therefore, when a tree, a thing called tree, the word tree cannot touch it. It is something which the word, poor word cannot touch it. What to speak of the reality which is timeless and spaceless? Can you ever describe it in words? It is utterly inscrutable. You know what is inscrutable? Cannot be described in words. And so I am devoted to that which is inscrutable, which cannot be described in words. And I am devoted to that which cannot be formulated by the mind. In doing so, I transcend the speech and the mind. Need not say you transcend the body. When you transcend the speech and the mind, you have transcended the entire body-mind. And in transcending the body-mind, or the speech and mind, I touch the real. And I am devoted to that real. That is the devotion. Praatassmarana manaso vachasa magamyam. Next. What is next?
Vacho vibhanti.
Vacho vibhanti yadanugrahena.
Nikhilaya danugrahena. Nikhilaya danugrahena.
Vacho vibhan akhilaha vachaha yadanug akhilaha, right?
Nikhilaya.
No. Vacho vibhanti nikhilaya danugrahena. You see, that reality, I am saying that reality cannot be reached by words and on the mind. Already I have explained enough. That don't think that it is away from you, far away from you. Don't think like that. It is not away from you, it is in you. Don't assume you cannot access it. If it can be described by words, I can access it. If I can think of it, I can access it. But now it is beyond words and thoughts, therefore I cannot access it. There cannot be worse fallacy than that. You can supremely access it. In spite of that being beyond words and thought, you can supremely access it now and here. It is accessible, the most accessible. Much nearer than the world and the things of the world. It is in you, and it is you, Tattvavidananda. And that light within you, that real which is there within you, because of which the organ of speech is able to speak, because of which the mind is able to formulate thoughts, because of which the eyes are able to see. Eyes are able to see the forms. Because of that which is behind the eyes, the eye of the eyes, means the power behind the eyes. Because of that, the eyes are able to see the forms. Because of that, the mind is able to think or formulate. Because of that, the organ of speech is able to speak. Okay, speak about it. You cannot speak about it. Because of that, the organ of speech is able to speak. You cannot speak about it. It is like a pair of tongs. A pair of tongs can hold on to anything, but it cannot hold on to the hand that operates the pair of tongs. Okay? So, to make a long story short, that expression, that second line, is the essence of Kenopanishad. The Kenopanishad mantra, some of you may be knowing, yadvachanabhyuditam yena vagabhyudyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. You will be stunned to know the meaning. That which cannot be described by words, that because of which the organ of speech is able to speak words, that is the real, that is the Brahma. Please understand. The thing that you are worshipping outside other than you, that is not the Brahma. Nedam yadidam upasate, yat idam janaha upasate, this is God, that is God, like that, that is not the Brahma. At best that can be a symbol to the Brahman, but in itself it is not the Brahma. You know why? Please note two things. One, word is not the thing. I have explained it already. Now I am adding one more thing. The symbol is not the thing. I love to give this example. This young man who loves a young lady keeps her passport size photograph in his purse and looks at it occasionally. But suppose she is standing before him, then why should he look at the passport size? Our friends are no better than that. The God is before them. They don't want to look at that God. They want to look at the passport size photograph. Okay? People are that stupid. Really. Therefore, tadeva brahmatvam, look within and ask the question. How the eyes are able to see? You ask the question. You are already transported into the embrace of the unknown and unknowable. Try that. Be devoted to that. Ask the question. How come this speech organ is able to speak so many things? It goes on speaking. How come it is able to do that? That question is enough to transport you into the embrace of that real which is in you. It embraces you. You develop the love for it. Manaso vachasa magamyam vacho vibhanti nikhila yadanugrahena yam neti neti vachanair nigama avochan. You know, I told you already 2-3 times, Upanishads do not present a particular God. They do not. Gita also do not present a particular God. In particular, Upanishads tell you what is not God. That is all what they say. Yam nigamaha, the Upanishads, the Vedas, neti neti vachanaihi avochan. They talked about it. They talked about the untalkable. They presented the unpresentable by a very unique method of presentation. It is called nishedha. I will explain that and conclude today's session. Nishedha, negation. Negation. So, I would like, you see, this is all philosophy and you should be able to think it critically and appreciate the speaker's effort to convey a philosophical wisdom. You should have that appreciating spirit, comprehending spirit, understanding acumen and love. You should have it. Then only the speaker's effort will bear fruit, otherwise not. You see, this evening I will present before you a great truth which if you are willing to understand and think about, you will be blessed. And that is, in life, all positive assertions are wrong. Assertion means positive only. I just, to make the emphasis, I said it. All positive assertions are wrong. You see, you measure the Tivachi and say it is 6 feet. I am not talking like that. You should not trivialize it. Okay? I give you an example. Are you ready?
Yes.
I am the father is an assertion, right? Right? It is wrong. You should know by now, if you are a student of Vedanta, you are not the father. You are not the father. Buddha came to Shuddhodana's palace for bhiksha. It so happened that he came to the town along with his Sangha, and he goes to bhiksha at afternoon 12 to whatever house comes his way. It is not a predetermined house. He just walks in, and whatever house comes, he will take bhiksha there. It so happened he was going through King's Way, where King's palace is there. And the king understood it and made all arrangements to receive Buddha. And so Buddha is standing. Suddenly Buddha realized his father Shuddhodana, and he is standing before the palace which was his at one time. He was a little taken aback, but now he doesn't want to go away. That is wrong, you won't take bhiksha, what is that? So he stood there, bhavati bhikshan dehi. Shuddhodana stood, come in, walk in. Dear son, walk in. Buddha did not respond. He said, bhiksha, give bhiksha, I will go. No, you are my son, I am asking you, dear son, come in. Why don't you respond? Are you not my son? He said, no, I am not your son. No, a few years back, 2-3 years back or 5 years back, when I asked you, when I called you, oh son, you used to respond with love. Yeah, that is when I did not know myself. Oh, now you know yourself, yeah. And so you are not my son. No, I am not your son. So what do you want? Give bhiksha. Okay, put bhiksha. He went away. So Buddha did not tell what is he. He only told what he is not. You got the point? Somebody asked me, what do you do in the immigration? I teach. What? Indian philosophy. Then he said, oh, you are a teacher of philosophy, you are a teacher. I wanted to say no. But then I did not want to complicate the matter. And I did not say yes also. I looked into him. He was satisfied. I put a stamp and gave to me. So I won the game one more time. That is enough. Next time we will see. So, suppose you ask me, Swami, what do you do in Secunderabad? I teach. Oh, you are a teacher? No. I am not a teacher. If you ask me, are you a sannyasi? Why are you planning to give bhiksha to me? Yeah, okay, I am sannyasi. No, bhiksha is not the point. What are you? Are you a sannyasi? No. I am a human being for your satisfaction. More than a sannyasi, I am a human being, like you, like any one of you. Sannyasi is a very limited thing, whereas human being is everywhere. That is the bigger. And I am not the smaller, the lesser sannyasi. I am the bigger human being. I am the living being. I am the being, existence absolute. I am the Sat. That is what I am, not sannyasi. Somebody asked me, Swamiji, what parampara do you belong? I do not belong to any parampara. You don't have a parampara, no. Why? I am timeless. No, they are all saying they belong to parampara. They don't know. And they are wrong. You do not belong to the parampara. Your time, Brahma belongs to which parampara? You want to start Vishnu and wife and his son and grandson. You want to start that kind of a game? No, I am not interested in that. Because I know all assertions are wrong. Suppose you say I am a Brahmana, you are wrong. Did you ever read Shankara's Nirvana Shaktam? Namata napita. Manobuddhyankara chittani naham name shrotra jihve name ghrana netre. Did you listen to all that? What is he talking about? All assertions are wrong. And you say in a negative way, you are right. I say, are you a Brahmana? No, I am not a Brahmana. Are you the son of a set of parents? No, I am not the son of a set of parents. When were you born? No, I was not born. Are you not afraid of death? No, I am not afraid of death because I am not going to die. You mean you don't die? No, I won't die. No, everybody dies by 80 or 90 or 100. No, nobody dies. Only the body dies. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. I don't die. You are not afraid of death? No, because I know that I am not going to die. Now, what did I tell about myself to you? Neti neti. Did I tell one word positive? No. You know why? Because all positive assertions are wrong. Essentially wrong. Superficially it's okay, chalta hai. Chalti ka naam gaadi, chalta hai. In immigration you go to CVS. She asks, what is your date of birth? Suppose I say I was not born. Then you know what happens? She won't give you the medicine, which is needed. Therefore I will tell the date of birth. All assertions are wrong. Please understand. I'll give you an example. God has 2 wives with a crown made of gold and gemstones on his head. Is it right or wrong? It sounds right to you? Go and sit on the tree. That is all I can say. It sounds right to you? It is a sectarian thinking. Very sectarian. And intolerant also. God has 3 horizontal lines, very intolerant about that God. You see, I was going in the queue for the darshan of the God. Before me, the vertical man was there. And the pujari, he went, Yamande, how are you? He doesn't know him first time. He went inside and brought a piece of cloth called Seshavastram and offered him and gave him some particular mala and gave him some prasadam. I was just waiting, watching the fun. Then he took leave and he went. He stood there 2 minutes and he went. Then I went, put some shatagopa on the head, move. Okay, I moved. Very sectarian. I'm not finding fault with it. That is how things are. In all Shiva Vishnu temples, the pujaris of both Shiva and Vishnu will be fighting with each other endlessly. Do you know that? Or is it information to you? You must be knowing it. Therefore, all assertions about God are wrong. You should not assert about God. You are students of Upanishads. You do not assert about God. You see, you tell me who is right. I asked someone, do you know God? You know what he said? Yamandi, what are you talking? God is my business. Morning God, afternoon God, evening God. That is, we know God from the childhood. God has 2 wives and all that. We know from childhood. What are you talking? What silly question you are asking, do you know God? Then I asked a Mahatma, Mahatma ji, do you know God? He said, what are you talking? You are supposed to be a Pandita. That is what I heard. And the question is silly. How can I know God? God is unknown and unknowable. Now who is right among the 2? The answer is very clear. Therefore, I suggest, if you are students of Vedanta, if that you claim that, there is no shortage of claims, you know. We are studying Vedanta for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. We know Chinmayanandaji, we know Dayanandaji, we know Datanandaji, we know Dishanandaji. You make big, big claims. Then you live up to your claims. Don't try to assert about God. That is not bhakti. In true bhakti, you wonder, oh my God. God? Knowing the God with this brain cells? Describing the God with this speech, silly speech? Impossible. That is devotion. That is the Upanishads. Upanishads have a different perspective. They are not like Puranas. They have a different perspective altogether. I tried to give a glimpse of it to you. Tam, that Brahman, Deva Devam. Deva are Indriyas. Deva is not some God sitting there. Did it ever occur to you? Like here on this physical level, we are all there, Indians, Americans, brother, sister, father, mother, wife, children. Like that we are all, this is the physical level. Similarly, there is a level there above. Maybe heaven level. And there are all devatas, wife, sister, daughter, and children and all that. So we celebrate marriage there, they also celebrate marriage there. We celebrate our birthday, therefore they also celebrate birthday. We celebrate our children's birthday, therefore Shiva celebrates Ganesha's birthday, Hanuman's birthday, Vishnu Venkateswara Swami's birthday, Shravana Nakshatra. क्या है भाई ये सब, ये क्या है, ये तमाशा क्या है? You think it is like that? You must be very funny though, really speaking. You must be kidding. Did you get the spirit of what I am saying? What is Deva Deva? Devas are Indriyas. You study Krishnopanishad, you will know. Devas are Indriyas, eye-seers. Diva, Kantav, illuminating, eyes illuminate forms, ears illuminate sounds. They are the Devatas. And the Atma is the Deva Deva, the inner light. Ajam, it has no birth. Achyutam, in spite of illuminating speech, it doesn't come to the level of speech, fall down to the level of speech. In spite of illuminating the thought, it doesn't fall down to the level of thought. Thought is time bound. The timeless illuminates the thought, doesn't become time bound. Body is the space bound. The spaceless illuminates the body, but doesn't become space bound. You got the point? This is what technically said, immanent and yet transcendent. Achyuta. That's why called Achyuta. Shuti is just falling down to the level. You fall down, there is no fall for your inner light. Agriyam, it is the beginning of everything. I ask you to look at this. What is the beginning of everything in your life? Like, you should be able to see clearly. When I say, when did your life begin? You should be able to say, today morning when I woke up, it began. You should be able to say that. It ended yesterday night when you went into sleep, and it began when you woke up today morning. This is called Nitya Srishti, Nitya Pralayam. One person went to Ramana Maharshi and offered some fruits. What will he do with so many fruits? Some custom. So, and asked, Maharshi, please bless me. Today is my birthday. As usual. Maharshi said, why today is birthday? Every day is birthday for you. How? When you wake up and identify with the body and become the person, the me, that is the birth. There is no other birth. And that happens to you every day. It doesn't happen to Ramana Maharshi at all. But it happens to this guy every day. Therefore, every day is birthday. This man did not understand. He wanted blessings on his birthday. Chalo, dunya hai. Therefore, ajam achyutam agriyam. So, what is that? That which begins and everything else begins. What is that? You wake up. What do you mean by waking up? The person will come later. What is meant by waking up? You imagine a dark room, the window is closed, nothing is visible, it is all dark. Then slowly the window is opening and the sunlight floods in. Similarly, the window of the mind is closed and it is all dark, sleep, And then the window of the mind is slowly opening, and the light of that inner light, Atma, that light of awareness, light of knowingness, not the outer light, that floods in. And all that is there in the mind comes to light. And as part of it, you become a person, you become the body, you are a career person, you have a family, you have the world, all that. Therefore, which is at the beginning, that inner light, the Atma, which is Brahman, that is at the beginning. Agre bhavati, agriyam. It is, and then everything happens. And then in the night, everything goes back into it. Next day, everything comes out of it. This is what we have seen in the first verse, the inner light of awareness. Okay? Aho, the rishis of the Upanishads say these things. Only Upanishad rishis say these things, all others don't say. All others say all kinds of other things. Okay, that is the verse. We will say the verse one time, finally. So, Praatassmarana manaso vachasa magamyam.
Praatassmarana manaso vachasa magamyam.
Vacho vibhanti nikhila yadanugrahena.
Vacho vibhanti nikhila yadanugrahena.
Yanneti neti vachanair nigama avochan.
Yanneti neti vachanair nigama avochan.
Tam deva deva majamachyutamahuragriyam.
Tam deva deva majamachyutamahuragriyam.
Yeah. So the third verse we do tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. It finishes. Fourth verse is simple philosophy, not much. So tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock we will assemble and finish the text. The books I gave to you, you need not return to me, you keep them with you, that is complimentary. And the book has two more essays which were written sometime, and then you can go through them also if you wish. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamada Purnamidam Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.